Hi, my name is Teal, and I'm your host for the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast, where we share stories of amazing women who live in our communities. My hope is that you will feel encouraged and inspired after listening to each episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast right here on SweatNet. I'm your host, Teal, and I'm so excited you decided to join me today for another inspiring episode. This week, we're talking to my friend Lindsay Messina Bergman. She has a decade of experience as a cover model, print, and television fitness personality, award-winning fitness competitor, and personal trainer. She's helped hundreds of clients achieve their fitness goals, ranging from prepping to compete on an international level, getting in top shape for life events, to losing pregnancy weight. Lindsay is a wife, a mom, and an incredible businesswoman. Y'all, and she's also my friend. We met through competing. We talk about that. We talk about her journey and how competing really launched her career in fitness and what she's doing now. So I can't wait for you to listen to this incredible conversation with Lindsay. Welcome to the show, Lindsay. I'm so glad to have you on.
What's up?
What's up? Girl, we could talk forever. So it's going to be really hard for me to keep this within a good time limit.
Let's just break out some coffee and let's just do it. Let's get the caffeine going.
That's it. Well, I want to talk to you about, we're going to start out talking about fitness and modeling. And so let's just start with that. When did you become a fitness model? When did all that happen for you?
So I fell into it when I was 20 years old, and that was way long ago. And I fell into it when I first started bikini competitions and fitness competitions, again, when I was 20 years old. So so I kind of just fell into it.
Now, prior to fitness competitions and modeling, had you set out on a path to be a model, or was that like a desire of your heart?
Oh, it was a recipe for disaster. I was one of those people that tried everything with modeling, and I did everything wrong. Took the wrong pictures, signed on the wrong deals, lost a lot of money, was taken advantage of, and it was a hot mess express. But with that, I had the desire, and I love the concept of meeting new people, doing photography, getting dressed up, feeling glamorous, and I wasn't going to stop. I just didn't know the type of direction I wanted to go in with modeling. And I loved health and fitness. And I kind of just stepped into the whole fitness realm because I lost a lot of weight. And someone recommended me to do a fitness competition. And at that time, I thought it was just going to be all muscular and really jacked up. And I was doing my research, and I joined a fitness competition, and then that's when I started meeting photographers and agents, and that's how fitness modeling just came about. So prior to that, I would say from the age 16, I did like Hawaiian tropics. I did all types of modeling. And so anyways, then at 20, I got into fitness modeling.
Okay, so you started competing, and then you find yourself at all this fitness modeling. What was what was the big break for you with all of that?
As far as when it really catapulted?
Yeah, when it was that moment you get a cover. And it was
Well, there would be two scenarios. So scenario number one is when I was at a competition and an agent came out to me and said, "Hey, I think you should model." And this is after I've sent out, like, back in the day, they were called comp cards. And it would be your headshot and four different photos on the opposite side with your stats on it. Well, I downloaded every single agent in New York City, because that's where I lived previously, every management company, and I probably sent out these comp cards to over 100 different agencies with like a letter and talking about me, and I would love to, set up a meeting and come meet them. Nothing back. And I did that over and over and over again, and nobody responded back to me. Talk about gut wrenching. I could have given up, and I could have been like, "Oh, this is just not for me," but I just knew in my soul I really wanted to do it. And when the agent came up to me at I think it was my third fitness show, maybe fourth, and they're like, "You should model." And I'm like, "What's your name?" And they told me their name and where they're from. And I said, "Oh my gosh, I've sent you letters. I've sent you comp cards. Like, I know who you are." And he goes, "Well, I'm here now. And here's my card, and come into New York City and do a shoot, and we will get you to work." And for me, that was like a pivotal moment where everything started shifting for my modeling career. I went in there, did some photos, and he sent me on a first couple of casting calls right then and there. And I booked my first job that day. And I booked my first job with Women's Health, and I did a book, an ad book, and it was amazing. And I spent 3 days doing a photo shoot with everyone, and it was just an amazing experience. And that just really launched my business working with that agency. And then my second pivotal moment would be when I really wanted to be on a cover of a magazine, which I feel everybody does who's in the fitness industry. Get published, we were just talking about, or get in on a magazine cover. And mine, of course, at the time was Oxygen magazine. And I went up to the executive producer at the time, and I was just introducing myself, who I am, showed him my book. And at that moment, I was too young, I was too soft. I have to build my glutes more, I have to build my shoulders more. And you kind of have to have thick skin a little bit. And I took that criticism, constructive criticism, and I worked on it. And I tried for 2 years, sent emails, built that relationship, stayed connected. And after 2 years, they gave me a shot, and I flew myself up to Canada. I walked into that big, glamorous, beautiful room, and I shot with Paul Buscetta for my first time. And I was 22 or 23 years old. And it was just an amazing experience. And before I left there, they gave me a questionnaire. They're like, I want you to fill this out because we probably have a cover from this photo shoot. And I just sat back. I was like, oh my goodness. No, it didn't really happen. And when I received it, I probably sat on my floor in my office at the time and just cried for like an hour. I was like, holy moly, it really happened. So those two things were definitely, they'll always stick with me, those experiences.
That's amazing. And I think just the fact that you just didn't settle
Hmm.
for no. Like
Hmm.
you you kept going at it because you even said it was from within. It was like in your soul. Like there's when it's in your soul, there is nothing. Like
Nothing.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how many no's you get. It doesn't matter, if it doesn't look like it at the time. It's just that whole push through.
Hmm.
Um w- did you have like because you touched on it just a little bit, but when they told you, you need to build your shoulders, you need to build your glutes, all that, was there a time though, like not just with that particular moment, but across the board, what did you feel pressure to look a certain way all the time?
Well, it was a hard balance between competing and fitness modeling because competition, you need a different physique versus fitness modeling. You need to be a little bit harder for competition, a little bit leaner. It just depends on your organization and also your category that you're competing in. But fitness modeling, they want you leaner, trimmer, smaller. So not so much shoulder caps and glutes. So for Oxygen, at the time it was more competition based. Like a lot of competitors were being showcased in that magazine, on that magazine. For regular lifestyle fitness modeling with an agency, they want every average girl, like, but really lean and really fit. So it was a hard balance. At the time I was working out a lot, and I was teaching a lot of workout classes, and I was living it. So I was always 5, 7 pounds off from a photo shoot. So at that time, I didn't really feel too much pressure. And also, social media wasn't really hot. Instagram wasn't really hot. I mean, I'm dating myself right now. Like I'm talking about over 15 years ago, guys. 15 years ago. Oh my gosh. Maybe we should have a second cup of coffee. I'm not really sure. I can't believe I just said that. Like, does it even feel like it was that long ago, Seal?
No, not at all, because I'm the same way. Like, I'm like, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram. We
No.
and listen, we didn't even have in the fitness, competition world, there were only like, there was bikini was new. There was really only fitness and bodybuilding. Bikini
Mhm.
comes along. Well, now you've got like all the other, added ones like you have model now, you have transformation, you have like physique. I mean, it just keeps going. I feel like they add every year. So like, yeah,
Mhm.
things have evolved all the way around.
All the way around. So I don't really feel at that time I felt pressure. What I really felt pressure is after I had my babies. And that was a hard transition for me. Becoming, being a fitness model and being identified with my body my whole life. and my credentials and being on magazine covers and winning world championships, I gained 80 pounds with my first daughter and 60 pounds with my second, and I'm 5'1". So for me, it was identity thing. It was accepting my new body. It was being okay with my stretch marks and my cellulite and going through this new phase and this chapter of my life. And for me, that part was hard because I felt like I was being judged. I felt like I wasn't enough, and I felt, I lost myself. So that part was hard.
And I think that's so important to acknowledge because when you are recognized for a magazine cover and like you do transition in life, you have to reinvent yourself. So, is that how you have felt? Like you've kind of had to reinvent who you are now and really embrace where you are in your life and what you're doing and your focus. What would
Yeah, and it keeps on evolving, right? It's basically, you sometimes it's hard to close a chapter in your life when it was so good, right? It was so good fitness modeling. It was so good competing. I was in the best shape of my life, met the dearest friends, had the most amazing experiences. And sometimes we want to live in that chapter. So what I had to realize real quick is I have to close that chapter in order to open up a new chapter in my life, which are all new experiences, all new journeys, and just use that story to tell myself how great it was and how much better it's going to get with the wisdom, the knowledge, and the two beautiful humans I have in my life right now, and maybe the women that need to hear and that compare themselves with the perfection through social media right now. It's like people looked at me like they thought I was perfection, and it's like, girlfriend, I'm human. Like, I have cellulite, I got stretch marks, my stuff jiggles when I walk, like, I promise you. And it's just a different phase of my life. Will I get back into top shape? Yeah, maybe, but it's a matter of feeling confident and happy within my skin, and yeah, reinventing myself on the direction where I want to go now. With my fitness will always be a part of my life, and community will always be a part of my life, but it looks a little bit different now than it did 15 years ago.
I agree. I'm in the same place. Like I have the fondest memories of competing and the same thing, being in that,
Mm.
amazing shape and all of that, but then getting older and then transitioning. But I find what's next is going to be just as much fun,
Mhm.
maybe even more fun. That's what we've
Maybe
talked
so.
before. Yeah,
I think
before
so.
we talked before. But just like really embracing yourself
Mhm.
and I was going to ask you about that about like what do you think about the pressure of social media and what do you say to women who are flipping through and like looking at photos and then find themselves looking at themselves in the mirror or just find themselves so disheartened and discouraged by what they see because it's so easy to do. You just pull up in your phone.
It's so easy. And then, I think we're all guilty of it at one point. And whether it's comparison through our bodies or a lifestyle or business, whatever that looks like. And I try to tell people, you got to have your blinders on because it's really a facade. And a lot of people's lifestyles or businesses or physiques probably do look like that, but there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on the background and behind the curtains that we don't see. And it's basically, social media is a magazine cover and a reel of who you are, what your life is, what your business is about, what you represent. So it is the best pictures, it's the best content, it's all the best things. So there is a lot of imperfection in there as well. Of course, we just don't show it, right? So and I think we're all human and we all have faults and mistakes, and we're unperfect. So I personally try to not compare myself because my lifestyle and my main priorities right now are so different from others on social media. I cannot compare myself to a person that's not a mom. I can't compare myself who someone, maybe hasn't gone through the journey that I have gone through, or maybe, my availability isn't the way their availability is, whether it's to go to the gym or put into a community or a business. And I just have to be in a space where I'm just so grateful for everything and everything that I've accomplished. And I feel once I put my grateful hat on and my gratitude hat on, I don't know, I just feel so much like zen like, like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Like, I try to use it for inspiration, but I just have to really be in a place where I'm thankful for the space that I'm in and know that it's here for a purpose.
I so agree with that. And gratitude has been something that I've had to lean into a lot over the past year. Well, I think everybody has really.
Sure.
But just, yeah, that whole grateful space. And I mean, even with getting older, like it's so, it's so crazy because it's like I'm aging, but like on the inside, I don't feel like I am, I am. But like, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could go back to that. But then I'm like, no, because what I'm doing now is fulfilling and it's needed and encouraging other people and the women that I've worked with and being a part of a community, like to me that's everything, which is
Mhm.
why we get along so well because
I
we both
know.
believe the same. But yeah, I wouldn't trade where I am right now.
Mm-mm. Even though, what were we saying in 2006? That's when you and
Yes,
I first met.
yes.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. So if you like Seal was the first person, like you were the first person I met in fitness. I remember I was young and had like the orange stuff all over my face and my hair was in like, I don't know what it was in. Maybe it wasn't washed for 4 days, who knows. But you run over to me and you were like, hi, your bubbly self, so energetic. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like she's magnetic. Hi, my name's Theo. Where are you from? What are you doing? Is your first competition? And I was like, I love this woman. Like, we're gonna be friends for life. Here we go.
Yeah. It's so crazy because I remember that moment. I
I do
remember
too.
seeing you across the room and you were by yourself and here I was with all these women. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like that's how fitness was like for us. Is like you had this whole community of women behind the stage that were like laughing and talking and cutting up and having a good time and those were the funnest. It wasn't even being on stage.
It
It was
wasn't.
everything behind the stage that was so much fun.
I agree. Mhm.
So yeah, I remember that. I
Me
remember
too.
wearing like the blue. I think we even had to cut our shirts up a little bit to make them
Yeah.
really cutesy
Uh-huh.
and funky for opening number. Like
Yeah. Oh my gosh, great times.
yes, great times. More to
Mhm.
come. More to come.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump into. You have two little girls,
I do. They're
three and
amazing.
5,
3 and 5. Mhm.
which I already told you is like my favorite ages ever because like I feel like I'm on that level a lot of the time.
They're amazing. They're amazing. I was showing there was a flashback that came on Facebook today and I sent it to you this today and she's like, "Mom, is that you dancing?" I'm like, "Yes, honey, that's me dancing." She's like, "Why didn't you have any clothes on?" Because my belly's showing. I have a little skirt on. And I'm like, it's a fitness competition. And she goes like, "With bikinis?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can I see?" And then she's so intrigued. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it starts now." But
Yes.
she was so into it and it was so cute. Anyways, it was just really sweet.
Well, and that routine, so that was the opening number, but your
Mhm.
routine was the cheerleader routine and it was like high energy. Like I remember watching it and I freaking loved it. Like you took the stage and freaking owned it. Like you were just like this mighty might. Like just took the stage like power. It was awesome.
It was so fun learning. And again, I've never done fitness before. That was my first competition in fitness. And I set a goal for myself because again, I was going into a new transition with my life. And I'm like, I need something else to focus on. I need a new goal. And I was like, I'm gonna do fitness, but I'm not a gymnast. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not really flexible. I don't really know how I didn't really think they had much to work with. So
But you killed it.
I
You
danced,
killed it.
I danced. I
You
could do
did.
that.
You did.
Fun.
And your personality, just like you may be 5'1", but you take up a whole room when you walk in.
Well,
Like that's
thanks.
just your presence. Yeah. So it was like that. I remember. It's so
Oh,
funny because there'll be certain routines that stick out. It's kind of like with Don Butterfield.
mhm.
Don Butterfield's Mighty Mouse routine will forever, like it's that thing I will remember forever. I remember seeing on ESPN. Wendy West, who did her the Indian routine, like I still like think about
They're
that.
staples, right? They're just
Yes,
staples that just define that category.
yes. And then
Mhm.
you came out with cheerleader, and I'm like, this is awesome.
Cheerleader with the pom poms. I don't even know.
Yes, it was
It was
just
it was
great.
fantastic.
Oh, that's
I just did a lot of jumping, a lot of booty shaking, and a lot of dancing, and it was fantastic.
and it freaking worked.
It
It
worked.
worked.
Oh.
Okay, so you have you two little girls,
Mhm.
and you're also like you have because I feel like you just transitioned from being like fitness model and, competitor, and you roll and run that stage, and you took that same thing and now you're doing it in business.
Mm,
So I want to talk a little bit about that.
sure. So I feel like my whole everyone sees again, right? Everyone sees everyone's story where it looks perfect. And, my whole life, I remember working when I was 15. I could not wait to get my worker's permit at 15 years old and get to work. I wanted to make my own money. My parents both worked two jobs. They're hardworking people. But I also remember also always getting hand-me-downs, always couponing, always getting the deals. My mom saying, go to school, you could only get one pair of shoes or one shirt. Like it couldn't get a whole outfit. And Lindsay, we can't do dance because we can't afford it. And that was all well and good. But what it did is like, well, I want to make my own money because I want to buy an outfit or I want to go to dance. And it taught me real quick to have really good work ethic. And from there, I always was so passionate with learning how to make money and feeling independent, feeling empowered, and having control over what I wanted. And money's not everything, but it definitely gives you flexibility and freedom to make choices. So when I was in the fitness realm, I was always passionate about that side of things, business, developing, creating. But at the time, I was walking in the path of being a fitness model. So, but I was always evolving and always trying to think of different ways on how to serve people, different ways to take my passion and create it into some kind of business of some sort. And it led me into a place where I was finding and I was coaching women on photo shoots and they wanted to get into fitness modeling. And I love that aspect. How do I brand myself? Oh, I love that too. And then I saw things in certain clients where I said, you have so much to give. You have so much knowledge around whatever their topic is. Why don't you coach people? Why don't you become a coach? And they're like, I didn't think that I could. So for me to see, I love seeing greatness in my clients and I love pulling it out of them, building their belief and showing them the first couple of steps that they can take to start getting things rolling for them. And I found so much passion in that. And I found so much passion in seeing the confidence and the independence built in my clients at the time that it just rolled into me helping people start their business ventures and pulling their greatness out of them and building belief that they can do it. So now that I became a mom, like that one-on-one coaching slowed down a little bit. But it's definitely going to start revving back up again because I just find so much joy in it around the health and fitness realm.
I love that. And it speaks of, like, the thing I think where people would look at your photos or look at what you did in modeling or what you accomplished in your time in competing. A lot of times they don't think about, that's a businesswoman up there.
Mm,
That woman's got way more going on than what we see. And so I think it's just, um, you know, it kind of makes it that whole full package. Like, you're not just an image, like there's so much more to you. And the fact that you use that to empower other women, um, and in such a humble and genuine and authentic way, is really awesome.
no, thank
It
you.
really is. Well, no,
Yeah.
and I say that with all sincerity, just because, um, you know, there's a lot of people that have a boss mentality,
Mhm.
and treat others with that mentality, where it's like, there's I don't want to say a lack of authenticity, but it's more of a bitchiness about it, and
Mm,
there's no vibe of that with you at all.
mm.
And I feel like, women can easily go that direction. But the fact that you do it with the level of humility and love, and um is just, it really speaks a lot about the character and integrity of the person that you are.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think it comes a lot it starts a lot with, you know, again, going back to struggles and going back to doubt and it going back to belief. My whole life, people have said, like, oh, you can't do it, or you can't be on the cover of a magazine, or you can't win that competition, or even don't build that business. I mean, that's just silly. You need X, Y, and Z. And growing up, and finding out that I was dyslexic at the age 25, and when I was tested, they're like, how did you even pass high school? I mean, I see numbers backwards, words backwards. And sometimes when I write things, I have to have someone proofread it. So when I first started in business and fitness modeling, people used to always call me out and saying, I don't even know what you're trying to say, or, you have this misspelt, or if you want to show up professional, you have to make sure your grammar and your spelling's correctly. So I took that at heart. I'm like, gosh, and then I hired someone to proofread all my stuff. So I didn't let it get in my way and stop me from pursuing my goals. I just hired someone when I could to proofread things to help me, move the needle forward. And to this day, I still do it. So for me, I feel just overcoming certain struggles pretty much, I feel, gets you to the point of being humble and understanding people, because you have struggled some hardship yourself. And everyone goes through their own stuff, and everyone goes through their own struggles, and understanding what their struggles are and how can you strengthen that just a little bit, and using that struggle to help them either overcome or create something that they absolutely love. And um so I don't know. I think just kind of going through the motions and journeys of your life, nothing's perfect, but just using your struggles as fuel or bait to continue what you want to do.
And I think that's a superpower. I think that we all have, like,
You do.
everybody has a superpower, and I think that you have a unique ability to pull that out in others.
Yeah. I love
Super
it.
cool. Yeah. There are moms listening,
Mhm.
and moms that are have a desire to maybe reinvent themselves by taking on a new challenge, starting a new business. Do you have any advice that you'd give to someone that's kind of toying around with the idea?
This was a hard one for me because I was always a workaholic. I worked 15 plus hours a day sometimes because I loved it and it didn't even seem like work. And when you have a little one, or even possibly throw two little ones on the mix, or even three, I don't have three yet, but um, schedules are different, times different, priorities are different, but you also don't want to lose yourself in the mix, right? So what I did when I had my firstborn, I asked myself, like, what is the most important to me right now? And I said the most important thing to me is health, and not losing sight of what makes me happy, and that's coaching people, because I love that. That fuels me. So I made it a point to work out every day, 15 minutes. That's all I did. And it was walking, or a little bit of yoga, a little bit of a bar workout, nothing too strenuous, but something that I felt accomplished afterwards, that I wanted to show up the next day. If I went back into my regular workout routine, guys, mind you, I had to lose like 60 pounds, right? So little bits, and it was more endorphins, it was more mindset, it was more making me feel good. It wasn't even like the physical result at that moment, which led into, right, we always talk about this, the compound movement of adding 15 minutes, taking away the ice cream at night, not every night, maybe three times a night, slowly making changes, which led into better results. And so I just chose one thing, 15 minutes a day. That's what I started. And then for business wise, I didn't put too much on my plate. I literally only worked when my little one was napping, or when she fell asleep at night. So I would do an hour or two a day, and that's all I could commit to. But it fueled my soul, where I knew that it was going to make me a better mom, and I knew that eventually I would be able to put more time into it. And then as I started working more and making more money, and my daughter was, I think, 10 months, that's when I decided to raise my hand and ask for help. And it's okay to ask for help, right? And sometimes us moms want to do it all, and we are super moms as it is, but it's, if you don't have family and if you don't have someone to help you, a friend or something, hire help, and it's okay. And that's what I did. And I only did it for like 5 to 10 hours a week, and it was honestly the best thing that I did, because seeing my kids fall in love and have compassion for somebody else, it was a beautiful thing to see. Um, and then I was able to pour more into myself, and it's healthy for kids to learn from other people as well. So that would be my advice.
Well, I love the fact that you did it intentionally, and like you did the time that you allowed yourself, like you
Mhm.
said, with just a 15-minute workout, because so many people get wrapped up in, it has to be 30 minutes or an hour long for it to do anything, and that's not the case.
Compound, compound,
Yeah.
compound action, compound movement. and just do it for your mindset clarity, and I just think that's the first 3 months, that's all I would say. Don't even do it for the physical part.
Yeah, just the mental
Yeah.
and just to feel good.
Feel good, right?
Yeah,
We have enough.
just
We
feel
have
good.
enough going on as like new
Right.
moms. Like we don't even know if we brush our teeth or wash our hair. I think I'm like, do I get hair in my teeth? Like I don't even know. Like what's going on? I get stains everywhere. Like
Right. Yeah,
yeah,
just for the feel good.
feel good. Yeah, that's
That's
it.
it.
Hmm.
Okay, so since we're talking about fitness,
Uh-huh.
I I wanted to ask you, so do you have a favorite song? A theme song, a favorite song?
Well, I think we were talking about this. So, guys, me and my daughter do this like little duet thing, right? She's very animated. I have no idea where she gets that from, but
Not at all. I
I
don't
have no
know. I
idea.
don't know.
So we do a duet with Shallow with Lady Gaga. So that's the first thing that came to my mind, So that's like
I
my
love it.
favorite song right now.
I
Every
just
time
love that.
every time it goes on in my heart sings, and I just think about doing the duet with her. Of course, she's the girl and I'm the boy, but that's okay.
Right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that
Yeah.
y'all have that
We have
little.
microphones and
Oh
everything.
my
We're like all into it, in the shallow, shallow, whole thing.
God, I love it. That's so great. Well, what's next for you? What's on your lit? Like, do you have something that you're like excited about that's next?
Yeah, I mean, I think just I'm everyone's evolving, right? Everyone's kind of doing this new thing with virtual and this new way of life right now. And right now, gonna get back into coaching, and I haven't done it in a couple of years. And I'm really stoked to do it. And it's basically being a visual branding coach. And what does that mean? Basically, whatever your visual branded, whether it's just doing photo shoots, whether it's getting on stage, or whether it's creating a business, like visually you're selling yourself. Visually, you need to show up for yourself. So just really pulling the greatness out of you where you feel professional, you feel aligned, and you feel really good about how you're showing up in your visual brand, on whatever component you were doing at this moment in your life. So getting back into that, and I'm excited about it.
And you're amazing at it. Like
Thank you.
that's everything about that's who you are. Like
Thank
that's
you.
how anytime I think of you, that's just such a natural thing. It's not anything you have to like try to do. It's just you. So the last question I always ask everybody that have on the podcast is if there's something else on your heart that you want to share with the listeners.
Well, I would say, speaking of heart, I would say whatever you're thinking about doing right now in your life, sometimes we get in our head a lot, all the time. And what I've realized is just listen to the first instinct, listen to what your heart says, listen to what your belly gut says, and ignore what's in your head, because your head's going to turn your decision into the different direction. And just lean into it. You're going to get messy. It's going to be a hot mess express before it gets really, really good. And just trust the fact that you're getting pulled in that direction for a reason, whether it's a life lesson, an experience to meet somebody. There's always a purpose where I'm getting pulled to, which either elevates something in my life, fuels a love in my life, fuels a friendship, whatever it may be. And it makes such an impact, for the next chapter in your life. So just go with it.
I love that. Hashtag go with it.
Go with it. Yeah. Lean in.
Yeah. Love all of it. So where can we connect with you? Where can somebody find you to work with you, whether it's visual branding or they just want to talk to you? Like, what are the best ways for them to connect?
Sure. So you could just go to my Instagram. It's at Lindsay Messina, or you can just go to you could email me, which is fitnesscovermodel@gmail.com.
So
That's a good one.
thank you so
You're
much for being
welcome.
on.
Thank you for inviting me. This was fun.
Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you for joining me today. If you like the podcast, please like and share this with other women in your life. You can find out more about SweatNet on sweatnet.com or follow them on Instagram at SweatNet and SweatNet Charlotte. You can follow me personally on Instagram at itssealsmart. Stay tuned for the next episode of the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast.